I think my ears shite.
I was going to say that to me.
Not generally.
Wow.
Just on this. Hello and welcome to Talking Reds. I'm Dan Austin. This is Josh Sexton. It's a very, very rainy Thursday morning in Liverpool. So we're going to look forward to what's apparently going to be a very rainy week in Munich next week. You know, I had a look thinking, it's March, maybe it's short weather. It's like parka coat weather.
Someone asked me the other day, like, is it going to be shorts? Where I was like, it'll be like shorts, but like longer down to your ankles.
Like you can have shorts on, but then 3 pair of pants over them, and you'll be all right. The weather's going to be terrible, but we're really excited about going to a massive Champions League game. Obviously, the ties, a couple of ties were finished last night, a couple on Tuesday as well, so we're very much in that mode. There'll be more of a preview looking at the Burnley game tomorrow on Talking Reds, and there'll also be an actual preview show out, so we're going to talk a bit more about the European Cup for now. And did you watch the games last night?
I watched the PSG United one. I have no idea what happened in the Porto Roma one.
Well, there was a late winner from a VAR penalty. Shock horror. So we're going to talk about VAR in a little bit, but first and foremost, it strikes me looking at the results from these four that I reckon the favourites in each tie have gone out.
Yeah.
So I probably would have backed Dortmund against Tottenham. Definitely would have thought that PSG would beat United. Definitely would have thought that Real would beat Ajax, and would have expected Roma to knock Porto out, but the opposite has happened in every single one. And
English teams have gone through in every one, which puts a lot of pressure on us.
And it just feels really open now. So we just really need to get through there, because you can get, in theory, a quarter-final draw there of Porto, of Ajax, and suddenly you're looking at a semi, and the semi takes you until pretty much the end of the league season as well. So you could have them sort of final four games there being Newcastle away in the league, Wolves home on the final day, with 2 European ties before it. Before these kinds of ties were settled, I was predominantly thinking about the league, and still am definitely, but the fact that it feels more open now has got me thinking that just get through next week, and we've got a proper chance of winning the European Cup.
It's nice to have a Champions League as your plan B, isn't it? That's that's a funny.
No, it's not your plan B, but like your sort of secondary thought.
Yeah. But there's a couple of teams there, like PSG and Real Madrid in particular, who you think if you get through against them, and even if Liverpool are sort of, or you can build Liverpool up to be the favourites going into them. We saw it in the final in Kiev last year, that them sort of teams who've got that big stature and all the sort of history behind them, they usually just find a way to win them games, and they've got the sort of players who can really snide their way through a game. Think about PSG in the group stage as well. When we played them away, they just sort of found a way to win, and were really horrible in doing so, in the same way that Real Madrid were in Kiev. So it's quite nice almost for them teams to be out, and like you say, it makes you think a bit more seriously about Liverpool's chances of going through. In terms of sort of Dortmund and Roma, I'd have still backed Liverpool against them teams anyway, I think, partly because of the way that their sort of playing styles are set up. I imagine if they set up against Liverpool in the way that they would against 90% of teams they play in their league, then I'd back Liverpool to win them. But yeah, it's nice just in particular to see Real Madrid and PSG out, because I don't really particularly have any sort of fondness towards either of them.
I've got a mad shout as well. Regardless of what happens in Liverpool's fixture next week, the same night, I think Lyon are knocking Barcelona out.
I'm into that as a shout. I remember you saying it at Anfield when we saw that the first leg had finished 0-0. I think Lyon sort of proved in the group stage, didn't they, against City, that they've got like a big result in them.
Went away and won, yeah.
Yeah, and Barca have proved, like last year against Roma, that they've got a bit of a rick in them in the Champions League as well. And I don't really back Barcelona to win it even at this stage. I think it's going to be someone a bit more understated who wins it, which I think's exciting for the competition, isn't it?
Well, I think Atletico Madrid have got a good chance, because they strike me as definitely the hardest team to score a goal against, regardless of what you think about them in midfield or attack. And they've got loads of great players there as well. But for example, if Liverpool were to go through against Bayern Munich, and we were talking about who we didn't want to face next, I just couldn't be arsed with that. Couldn't be asked going up against the Simeone team, and especially when, in theory, yes, you can draw Ajax or Porto. Yeah,
when the last 16 draw was done, I remember sort of thinking that the two teams I really wanted to avoid, like the plague, were Juventus and Atletico Madrid. So it was quite nice that they got each other, really, because then you're knocking the two teams who have got that sort of really like defensive style about them. I know Juve are obviously sort of building a bit of an empire now, but they look like they might be on the way out, which is also good. But yeah, Atletico Madrid, they just strike me as a sort of team who, it's like the 90% of teams that Liverpool play in the league, in terms of like they can properly park the bus against you and make it horrible, but they've got Diego Godin and Jimenez. They're not sort of like, it's not like Simon Francis and Steve Cook at the back, because you've got some like world-class players who are stopping you getting to their goal, and I sort of think that's almost like the complete antithesis of what Liverpool do.
Oh, great word for it on a Thursday morning there. I reckon Mohamed Salah has finished Steve Cook's career, by the way. I reckon Steve Cook just can't be asked playing footy no more.
I can't believe they're footy players,
Remember when he tried to step all over his ankle to stop him, and he just put the ball in the net anyway? It's one of my favourite Liverpool goals ever.
Isn't he like 27 as well, Steve Cook?
Yeah, you think Steve Cook's 42, but he's actually like younger than me and Josh somehow. No, I think he's actually like 29.
Everyone thinks I'm about 12, so everyone's thinking Steve Cook's about 11 now.
Steve Cook's the youngest player to ever play Premier League football. John Gibbons has been to Liverpool Lighthouse to find a bit more about the Levi's music project. So we're going to be back in a minute. We're going to be talking about VAR and things like that. But in the meantime, here's John.
It's John Gibbons for the Anfield Wrap, and I'm here at the Liverpool Lighthouse in Anfield, just over the road from the Cop, and I'm here to talk about the Levi's music project, which is here in Liverpool, and I'm joined by Rodri Evans from Levi's. Welcome, first of all. Cheers. First of all, you can tell us a little bit about the music project in general and why you've chosen to come to Liverpool on this leg of the journey.
Sure. So, the Levi's music project is something that it kind of fuses the Levi's brand's kind of authenticity and place in the music space, but also we're a brand with a really strong set of values. So it kind of brings those two things together, and it's a project that's kind of been established against the backdrop of reduction of provision of creative spaces, of music education in the curriculum. The concept of a youth club is something that's disappearing away from this country and around Europe at the moment. So what this project seeks to do is very simply provide access to music in communities. So what we do is we work with music artists to mentor and build community music studios, like the one we're in today. And that artist will then mentor a group of young local musicians through a music project where they learn lots of things about the craft of music. So it could be performing, it could be more about the kind of building a brand of a musician, it could be about graphic design, photography, the whole ecosystem of being in the music industry, let's say. And then that collaboration happens, it builds towards a celebration event. So this particular one in Liverpool is building towards Sound City Festival, the first weekend of May. And our partner artist in Liverpool is Lorcana, who's a big red as well, which always helps.
He's been on.
Okay, so so you know just how much of a true Liverpool fan he is. And it was a natural choice to come here. That artist in this city is basically it's a dream for me as well, being a Liverpool fan. So it's bringing together a lot of passion points for everybody, I think.
I mean, what's great about the project as well is obviously this is a studio that you've built in Anfield, as I say, over the road from the Cop, and this stays forever, doesn't it? So the project is a short one. There's 15 young musicians who are working towards, as you say, this performance in May at Sound City, but this space now is here for the community of Anfield forever.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the legacy of these projects. I mentioned, we've got 10 throughout Europe now. In many different areas. We've got this one here, we've got one, for example, in St. Pauli Stadium, football stadium, which is an amazing football club. If you guys know anything about them as a football club, we're a big partner of theirs, and we've got one of these music studios in one of their directors' boxes in their stadium, which is a fun day out if you ever get the chance to do that. But yeah, these studios stay in place, and they're open access for the whole community after this. And yeah, it's something that we really want to kind of invest in throughout Europe, is that partnership between our brand and the community, essentially.
So it's fantastic that it's here. It's great that Levi's are doing this as part of their partnership with Liverpool. We're going to be telling the story of this music project from now until the performance of Sound City. So look out for it on the YouTube channel and also on the Anfield Wrap on our weekender shows, on our free audio shows. We're going to be telling the story there. I'm going to try and hit Roger up for some St. Pauli tickets in the Levi's box now, so we'll go. But back to whoever's doing Talking Reds today.
Thanks very much to John for that, and Josh, we're going to talk a bit about the VAR now. Sort of can't get away from it. It's going to be in the Premier League next season. It's in the Champions League already. It's deciding Champions League ties at this stage. Both of them last night were settled by penalties that were given through the use of VAR. I don't really think that either of them were penalties, and what is the most telling thing about them for me is that no one really appeals for either of them. So the United one, it goes out for the corner. United want to take the corner quickly. The referee is ready for them to take the corner and then gets called off to have a look at it. And as soon as you get called off, you sort of have to give it, because basically someone who is looking at your job with better perspectives than you is saying, I want you to recheck the job you've just done there.
Yeah.
So that doubt makes you just sort of automatically have to give it. The Roma one as well, I think is soft. It's probably more of a penalty than the United one, but I still don't really think it should be given. So basically, I just think that people are going to end up getting penalties for stuff that they're not even asking for, that no one in the ground really thinks is a pen, but someone with a frame-by-frame slow-motion replay reckons there's a bit of contact in. And that's not actually how the game runs. I don't like it, basically.
Yeah, I'm sort of caught in a halfway house with it, to be honest. Like you say there about the doubt that it puts in the referee's mind, and that's sort of the issue for me. I think it was Rory Smith said on Twitter last night that it's almost just adding another layer of subjectivity, which is my issue with it. I think when VAR was brought in, I thought it would be like Hawkeye in cricket, for example, where like it's just completely objective. Like if this is a clear and obvious error that the referee's made, they'll say this is a clear and obvious error. You need to change this decision.
That's the phrase they use, isn't it? Clear and obvious. But loads of the stuff they use it for is not clear and obvious. So like the World Cup final one that gets given against Croatia for France, there's no way that is a clear and obvious error. There's no way the stuff last night is clear and obvious.
There's one in the Ajax game the other night as well. I think it was Ajax's third goal. I want to say it might have even been the fourth. No, in fact, it was the third, where their right back slides to keep it in, and like it's so close, like in between him keeping it in and not keeping it in. It's like, well, why are you checking that? Because that's just part of the game, that someone's running at full tilt, does like a big slide tackle and keeps the ball. And I don't think that's like clear and obvious. It's not like the ball's gone like a yard out of play. It's literally like whether it's a hair over the line or not.
The objectivity thing is the main one for me, because the reason the goal line technology is absolutely fine is because it's actual science as to whether the ball's over the line or not. There's no arguments about it. You can literally see on the little graphic that they do, and the referee gets the buzz, it is factually over the line or not. Whereas you can watch a replay of a penalty every day for the rest of your life and not be sure in your own head. You can go, oh, well, maybe, but maybe not. Yeah. So I don't see why you should get a second shot at that, because it doesn't make you any more certain. It doesn't make it any more clear. It doesn't make it any more of a fact that it's a foul. It's innately a thing that one ref would give and the other ref wouldn't. And watching the slow-mo video doesn't make it any more factual. You can have more looks at it, but also it distorts it because it's not the way it happened in real life, in real time. Yeah. And then there's the whole thing about like the celebrations and stuff being altered and whatever, and I think a lot of Liverpool supporters are very much skewed by that mad West Brom game when none of us understood what the score was, because there's no screens in the ground and the referee just sort of fucks off to the side of the pitch for a bit and then comes back and points at something and you're like, well, what was that even for?
Yeah, I think to sort of counter that I think this celebration thing's a bit overstated, because I think back to the World Cup, was it South Korea who knocked Germany out on the last game of the group stages? And there was a VAR incident in that where like they'd sort of gone back to review it and like there was still like absolute scenes after it. So I think like you can think into that too much. I think if you get rewarded with a goal and it's a massive goal, you're still going to celebrate it no matter at which point you get to celebrate it. Like there's goals. I think about Mane's against Everton. I remember me and Sean were watching it together, the one in the Goodison derby a few years back, and we thought for certain that he was offside at first. So like it took us about a minute to realise like what had gone on, because I'm pretty sure the ref blew his whistle at one point and things like that. So even without VAR, I still think you can have a bit of like a sort of stutter in your celebration. But I think like you say the objectivity is a thing, and maybe you could argue it needs a few more years before they sort of implement it properly. But then does it need to be implemented properly first for them to be able to try that and sort of improve it? I'm sort of caught in the halfway house, to be honest. I think it could potentially be a good thing for football, but what I don't like is the massive doubt that it's leaving at the moment. I don't think that really helps anybody, to be honest.
I'd sort of like it fucked off for now, at least.
I don't think it's helping the referees.
Cue a Liverpool winner in Munich next week off of a VAR pen, and I'm its biggest fan. I'm going the ground dressed as like the little telly screen that they look at it on. Just walking around town doing this to anyone who'll look at me.
Just a few fellas like telly.
I support VAR now. I'm not even asked about Liverpool.
I can't wait till we're on this next week in Munich, and like after that's happened, and we're just like, oh, VAR's the best thing ever. We've always said that. Never any doubt.
But one of the things that has come out of these Champions League ties is that everyone knows that Santiago Solari is on borrowed time at Real Madrid, and he's probably on borrowed time anyway because he was never a long-term appointment. But there was a brief rumour, or still is a brief rumour, that they're very interested in Jurgen Klopp, and I'm sure they are interested in Jurgen Klopp. You know, he's one of the best managers in world football. He's got a very good reputation for taking teams that are not doing so well to higher places. But there's just absolutely no chance, is there? He's a fella who likes to spend a long time in one place and get to know the club and the people and feel like there's an identity involved. And I think he'd, from his own point of view, like, even if he weren't Liverpool manager anymore for some reason, I think he'd just rather not be a footy manager than manage Real Madrid.
Yeah. I'd be interested in going on a date with Dua Lipa, Dan, but I don't reckon it's happening anytime soon, to be honest. So
Speak for yourself.
Let's write that possibility off. No, but I think what you've sort of nailed it there. I think Jurgen Klopp he almost likes a bit of an underdog story. He likes a club who, I suppose Liverpool were a bit more of a fallen giant than maybe Dortmund and Mainz were, but he likes sort of building a club up and being part of that established identity. Whereas I think at Real Madrid, as the manager, you're never going to be the one who builds Real Madrid up to be this thing. It's always going to be, it's the Galacticos and things that came before you at Real Madrid. That's always going to have a bearing on what you can do in that role. And I think
even Zidane doesn't get so much credit in comparison to what he probably should, because loads of people just say, well, he had the most money and he had the best players and yada yada, and he didn't do that good a job.
And I think Klopp wouldn't really like to be viewed like that, would he? I think he wants to be one of the people who said, like, oh, you're the reason that, like, this club got back to where they were. It's not like, oh, you got a load of money and you had all the best players in the world and you had, a lad up front who was scoring 50 goals for you. I don't think it's a job that suits him, or I think it's never a job that suits him. I think there's probably more in what people are saying in terms of once his contract's up at Liverpool and he thinks his time's up at Liverpool and he's done all he can, which hopefully is off the back of a few trophies and a league title. Maybe then he looks at the German national team job, but even then I think there's still massive caveats to that, to be honest.
It's mad the way they've already belled Zidane. Apparently, the former president of Real Madrid has said that the current president of Real Madrid, Florentino Perez, basically rang him last night, like 24 hours after the game, and basically went, "Any chance there, Zinedine, lad?" And Zinedine went, "Nah, mate."
So like an ex turning up at your door and being like,
pretty
come on,
much.
yeah.
Speaking of exes, though, apparently Mourinho is therefore strong favourite, which is, it's mad to go from Zidane, who was a brilliant manager for you, possibly, one of your top 3 players of all time, played really attacking, attractive football, to a fella whose biggest moment at your club was poking an opposition coach in the eye, and all your supporters hated him, and he plays terrible footy. Like, how you go from belling Zidane to belling Mourinho afterwards, I'm really not sure.
I think there's a bit of a romance in it, in that, like, Madrid and Mourinho have both had, like, a massive fall from grace this year, so maybe they're, like, the perfect sort of coupling to build themselves both back up again, and Mourinho builds his reputation back up and gets a good job off the back of it.
They've both been dumped by more attractive partners, and now they're just going to have some really dirty sex with each other to boost their own confidence.
I mean, that's one way of viewing it. That wasn't the road I was going down, but
that to me is like the equivalent of a 1-0 win away at Espanyol. Like, with Ramos scores like a 90th minute header. I think it's a really good metaphor.
I honestly don't know where to go from that, to be honest.
Do you think they get him?
I think he'd 100% take it. Yeah, he's someone who's not against returning to a club, as we've seen from Chelsea, has he? No matter how sort of on what bad terms it ended in the first place. And I think he probably maybe suits Real Madrid in terms of he just sort of brings a few of the basics of football back to them, and he brings a bit more stability defensive wise. I'm not sure how much that's needed in La Liga, but you've seen from some of their results this season that it probably can't get any worse than some of the results they've had. So
I like his commitment to being like associated with baddies. So like, he's managed Chelsea twice. He's probably going to manage Real Madrid twice. He's getting a programme on Russia Today. He's kicking about on telly in
beIN Sports.
beIN Sports in Qatar with anti-Graham Richard Keys and that. Like, he's so committed to just being a terrible fella involved with other terrible fellas. I think that's great. It's like the ultimate pantomime villain.
Yeah, I'm sort of into that, in that he's sort of settled into his role. Like, we were talking about Klopp there. I think Klopp sort of sees himself as the good guy and as the hero of sort of all of these sort of pieces and scripts within football. Whereas I think Mourinho's like, I am the opposite of Jurgen Klopp. Like, he's literally going on beIN Sports and speaking out against Jurgen Klopp, like giving his players hugs and stuff like that. Mourinho's like, well, he's the good guy who will give all his players hugs, but like, where are his trophies? I'm the bad one who like tells everyone to fuck off and look at all my trophies.
Well, that's probably about all that we've got time for from Talking Heads today.
Still can't get the dirty
yeah, you're
sex
still
off
thinking
my
about the
head.
dirty sex. Make sure to press the subscribe button. Also, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future Anfield Wrap videos. It also means that more people watch them. It means that we can try new formats, do new things, make more things for you, basically. Let us know in the comments what you think of VAR, whether you think we're sort of right to be a bit sceptical, whether you're more positive on it. Let us know what you think Real Madrid and Jose Mourinho will be getting up to. Not too graphic, please, because that'll probs get deleted by someone who's moderating the comments. But, try and push the boundaries, I guess. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. Thank you from Josh. Thank you from me. All the best.
Fucking hell.